Hi, everyone. I'm Stewart Glickman, Deputy Director of Equity Research for CFRA and an energy analyst of the firm. And I wanted to talk briefly today about the ramifications of Vladimir Putin's invasion of the Ukraine by Russian forces. We wrote a thematic report on this last week entitled Putin Lights a Fire Under LNG Demand. And the basic concept is that Russia, as you may know, is a huge exporter of both crude oil and natural gas to world markets. Our focus here is on the natural gas side. And globally, Russia contributes about 17% of global demand, of global supply of natural gas. But in Europe, it's particularly acute. Russia accounts for somewhere between typically 35% and 40% of European imports of natural gas. And so this invasion comes at a time in the middle of winter when there are likely to be delays, if not outright stoppages, of the flow of natural gas from Russia to other parts of Europe, particularly through the Ukraine, which is one of the major inbound locations where gas makes its way into Western Europe. So the advent of what's called LNG, or liquefied natural gas, is an opportunity, because you can take gas that's produced in other places, like in the US, and ship it on over the ocean and bring it to other ports in Europe where demand remains high for natural gas, and inventories ahead of this invasion were already very low. One of the things that LNG demand capitalizes on is that relative spread between gas prices in one location, in the US in this case, and then gas prices in Europe. So gas prices in the US typically somewhere around $3 or $4 per million BTU. That's the standard measuring unit for gas. Whereas in Europe, even before this invasion, gas prices were, around $10 per million BTU at the local benchmark called NBP. With this invasion, or the massing of troops on the border, prices went haywire in Europe, and we're averaging closer to $25 to $35 per million BTU, which is a tremendous advantage for if you have available spot gas in the US and would like to sell it in Europe. There are going to be plenty of buyers who want that. And so if you think about it from an actionability standpoint, the firms that can benefit from that huge spread, which has only gotten worse after the invasion was actually launched, are firms like a Cheniere Energy, which have LNG liquefaction capacity in the US Gulf Coast, and that allow boats to come up to the port and fill their cargoes with natural gas and then ship it across the ocean, as well as firms like Antero Resources, which is a natural gas producer, relatively small firm, only a mid-cap name, but they're only about 50% hedged on their production for 2022 and 0% hedged in 2023. So if that high spread persists into 2023, we think cargoes that Antero can make available with their natural gas will be in high demand. And then in addition, you have some other midstream names that could benefit. ExxonMobil, for example, is building out its Golden Pass LNG liquefaction plant, probably not ready until 2024, but to the degree that that buyers in Europe would like to wean themselves off of Russian supply, we think that there's a good chance that demand for gas from other places, like perhaps the US Gulf Coast, could persist even beyond when this invasion ends, hopefully. And then another name like Energy Transfer, which is another midstream firm, also aids in the ability to move natural gas from production regions like the Permian Basin in West Texas and bring it to the Gulf Coast so that folks like ExxonMobil at Golden Pass can do what they have to do. So that's our presentation about the impact of Putin's invasion on LNG. And please turn to our thematic research reports on MarketScope Advisor for further details. Thank you.